And we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bigfoot Odyssey's Research Reports. I'm Kerry Arnold. With me, as always, producer and co-host of the report, Miss Daniela Iolo. How are you, dear?
I'm good, thank you. I've got a little announcement. Sorry.
You do?
I do. I should have said it to you before, but
okay.
I better put it up.
You want me to get past this first? Past the intro first?
Oh, sorry.
I see it already. I see it. So let's go ahead and do it. Happy birthday to Jamie Cotterill. Happy birthday to you.
There you go.
If I had my piano in here, I would play and sing happy birthday to you. But I ain't.
But sorry, I'll let you do the intro.
That's okay.
Ignore me.
That's all right. Well, we were going to have Cliff Falen on again, and I don't know what's happened. Cliff's not going to be able to join us tonight. So it's just going to be me and Daniela taking questions from you guys, and we'll talk about, things that came up when I went and filmed. Saturday before last, I went and filmed. Nobody showed up. The only person that was there was Cam. Cam Buckner was there. Got to meet him face to face, and that guy's like a linebacker. He's not really tall. I think he's probably 5'10", 5'11", which is tall enough, but he is jacked up. I mean, this guy's, he's pretty intimidating looking, actually, but just the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. We'd been friends for a while on the phone for 2 years, talking to each other, once, twice a week, sometimes every day. And we worked together a lot with Dixie Cryptid and the Shudder. And just getting to meet him and see him, and we ate at Cracker Barrel, and he's the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. If you're not subscribed to Dixie Cryptid, you've been living under a rock, and you're not in the Bigfoot world at all. He's one of the best storytellers to me there is. But let's get beyond that. The guy Joe Flippo, he's another one of these great guys that's been all over northern Alabama. He had an experience. Southeast Texas, he had a really close-up sighting experience. He had a nighttime, 3 really close, where he got to actually see this creature, and a bunch of other stuff. So I got all that, but no one else showed up. And for us to make it an Odyssey, that's what I was going to do, was have the central focus be him, kind of like the way we did Sisters of the Moon. Everybody had their own individual experience, and kind of tie it all together with around the campfire deal. But I got a lot of his family, some of the experiences they've had around there. And but it was just none of the other people showed up. There was supposed to have been 3 or 4, and maybe they didn't come because we were going to be there. Who knows? But it is what it is. I'm still debating whether to do anything with it or wait until they have the next one and go up there and do it. So that's kind of weighing it right now, but still kicking with the Shudder. We're just past 4,500 subscribers. Thank you all so very much for that. The videos, I think we put our 37th video out this morning after 2 months today, 60 days today. And it's really starting to pick up and go. So I think people are enjoying that. And I spend a lot of time on that. I do. And not as much time doing the Bigfoot Odyssey stuff, but I just
You're working harder than me. I'm on my channel.
Well, I don't have anything else to do but this. I have signed a contract to go back to work with a company, doing a completely different job, something I've never done before, which is sell. But it's selling equipment that I know. So I think it's going to work out. Hopefully it'll be even better money. It's supposed to be. But the oil field's got to come back first, and it's coming back slowly. So we're hoping July. And I really want to thank everybody that has supported us through that. Jerry Ham has just been incredible. My friend Bear, Jeff Townsend, the guys that have supported us with contributions, PayPal contributions. It's just been fantastic. Can't thank you guys enough. Just has helped us get going or stay going. Not asking for anything from anybody. I just want to thank those people for sure for that. There's a couple more. Let me thank a couple more. Who was on here? Bear, of course. Jerry Ham. Marty Janowiak. Hope I said that right. Lindsay Bay and Miss Gonzalez. I can't remember her first name. I think it's Mary or Mimi or something like that. But we appreciate that very much. What you got coming up with Hidden Existence?
I've got a show on Friday. I've got a guy, Dave from Birmingham, England, UFO researcher. He's going to have some interesting stuff to share with us. I won't give too much away, but it's going to be interesting. And
give us a little. Give us a little. Give us a summary.
It's been well, I'll have to get it out in front of me because it's a lot of information. So let me see if I can get it up. I was going to have Kirk Stokes on, but we've had to rearrange. I'm not quite arranged a date, but we will do.
Kirk Stokes was my first choice for the expedition, actually, and he's got alpha gal, so it's not easy for him to go, especially down into a climate like that. But well, while you're doing that, I got the book. Ken Gerhard sent me a copy of his last book, and it's really good.
All right, cool.
It's got a ton of good information in it. You know, it's not the kind of information that is as subjective as most quote unquote experts. I don't know any other way to say it. You know, these people that put out all this information about, you know, Sasquatch, this fact stuff, and you know, everything he puts in there, he references all of it. So it's really cool the way it's all laid out and set up. So I would suggest absolutely get it. It's not very expensive, I don't think, for the book. Maybe $15-20. I have no idea. That's probably expensive for anybody right now. But if you get a chance, what's the title of it? Bigfoot. I got it on my little bio notes here.
Oh yeah.
I've just been reading the thing too. The Essential Guide to Bigfoot. That's it. But he also has Wood Knox Volume 1, a Journal of Sasquatch Research, and a Menagerie of Mysterious Beasts. And apparently they're all put together the same way. But this last one that he did, very good. It's very good. I'm impressed by it. I'm not impressed by a lot of Bigfoot books. You know, Peter Byrne, his was pretty good. I think there was a lot less information about it back then than there is now, or at least a lot less theories, because the more reports that have come in, obviously people are drawing from those experiences and then putting their own, you know, facts together or the way they feel and believe the behavior of this creature, the Bigfoot are. And so I think, you know, you get a little bit more. I think it's valid, a lot of it. I was talking to my friend Bear about this guy, and he was in the news. I think it was 2014 or 2015. And he had essentially stayed away from people, completely hidden for 25 years. Now, that takes a special type of mind to do that. I mean, he wasn't necessarily an intellectual person. I think he might have been a mad genius. Who knows? I think that might be, you know, the thing that drives somebody to do something like that. But he completely stayed hidden and away from people for 25 years, and he robbed people's houses 1,000 times. He robbed this entire community, and finally, this one ranger got fed up with it, and he put some motion detectors up on some cabins that he had been busting into, and then they finally caught him. But when they found his place, and I think this lends a lot to the ability of Sasquatch to stay away from us, is this guy was going into a place where no one would really dare go. And he did it with relative ease. It was so thick, this one campsite that he had, and he had taken National Geographic magazine and buried them in the floor to make his floor level, like stacks of National Geographic that he'd probably stolen from a bunch of houses. But just the way this guy lived, and completely out of the public eye, didn't have water, electricity, nothing, just just lived and stayed away from people. No one ever saw the guy, but they knew he was around because he was robbing all these houses in this community. I think they had a name for him even, but they just couldn't find him. And if a person can do that for that long, imagine a creature that's suited for those, that's comfortable, in things places we dare not go.
Definitely.
It just lends a lot of credibility to maybe an answer.
But they can live off the land, can't they? Whereas we
Sure.
well, we need water, don't we? At least, or
yeah,
we need some things, don't we? Even people who live off the grid, that they've got some home comforts. There's very rare people are living completely.
Well, apparently, and this was up in Maine. So in the wintertime, it gets bloody cold up there, at every night at 2:30 in the morning, he would get up and walk his perimeter. Never lost a finger, a toe, a tip of his nose to frostbite, anything, because he did that, because he got up and never built a fire. Imagine that, not building a fire. I don't know how he heated up dinner or if he ever ate a hot dinner. I don't know, but I thought it was pretty incredible. I have the article. If anybody wants it, just email me. I'll send it to you. Just if you haven't heard about it anyway, it was some crazy stuff. Okay.
I was thinking about the feet, whether they have pads or skin, hardened skin. But I guess in order to leave dermal ridges, what would it have to be?
I would imagine it's like a dog's pad on their foot. You think you've never worn something that's never worn shoes is going to have a pretty thick, sole on their feet.
But I don't know if they have dermal ridges. I know they have pores in the pads, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't know, but it could just be, a thick layer of skin. If you listen to Albert Osman, that's one of the things he noticed about the young one that would sit down. He said he would just go straight down and sit, legs crossed, no help with his arms or nothing. He would come straight up and straight down in that sitting Indian style position. And he looked at the bottom of his feet and he could see that it had a thick sole on it, which, obviously they have to have that something there. So I would probably equate it to a dog's pad. Myself wouldn't know, or any other animal that runs around out there with no shoes on, which is every other animal but us. Except horses, but we put those shoes on there.
Goats, anything like that. Sheep.
Yeah, well, cloven hoof, they're hard. It's like walking on fingernails, So, okay, did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, we're going to talk about. We've got some sketches. We've got some sketches from abductees, people who've witnessed ETs, contactees, and he's been working on trying to validate a photo of a UFO from Abergavenny, I can't even say it, Abergavenny, back in 2014. He's doing a lot of research in the UK, basically, and I didn't know too much about him, but I've looked into him, and he does quite a lot of work with people who have had experiences.
When is he on?
Friday on my channel. It'd be at 3:30 though, Central.
Okay, Friday 3:30 p.m. Central. If you can't catch it then, just go back to Hidden Existence and watch the thing then. It sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
For 3:30 Friday, I might be able to make that one. So.
It is early, but because we're in the UK, we don't want to wait up till 1 o'clock.
Understandable. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely understandable. But there are more. That's the thing about these subjects is maybe not so much UFO, but definitely Bigfoot. There are more people in the United States, I think, that are interested in the subject or actually pay any attention to it in the United States than probably anywhere else, because they appear to be here, at least searched for here, more than anywhere else. I do believe they're everywhere. But again, I think they're searched for more here. Maybe there's bigger population, more habitat. I don't know. I haven't really looked into anything outside of the lower 48 and Alaska and Canada. but very few. Mexico, everything you hear south of the border is small, which if you look at nature, that's kind of what happens with animals, even people. The further north you get, the bigger everything gets, and then farther south, the smaller it is, from people to species of animal, anything. Okay. We'll take questions anytime, since our guest is not going to be here. We'll take questions throughout the whole thing. If you guys throw them up there in caps where we can see them. I'm not going through and reading the chat because I know a lot of you guys, kind of go back and forth between each other. But if you have a question for us, put it all in capital letters, and it'll be a lot easier it'll catch my eye, and I'll definitely read the whole thing. Some people do all their messages in all caps. Richie Evans does that. I asked him why he did that. He never answered me. I love Richie Evans. He's a Florida guy, and he's always yelling at me. I was like, why are you yelling at me, Richie? I don't know. How I do it. But Richie is a cool guy. He had a close-up encounter in Florida with something he couldn't explain. Blonde.
We need to get him back on, but his audio, we had problems with his audio.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it was his internet connection.
Yeah.
But, Richie sends me messages and pictures, and I get a lot of this COVID-19 stuff here lately, and I just don't even look at it. I've gone beyond. I don't watch the news anymore. I used to watch it all the time. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm either reading emails from reports, Bigfoot reports, or people that have had strange experiences get sent to me, which send them to me. I'm looking for them. You guys, I don't get a ton, but where's the email? There it is right there. Boom. I think I spelled it right. Yeah. readmynarrative@gmail.com. Email me your story. It doesn't have, if it doesn't matter if you send it to somebody else. The more places you get it out to, the more exposure your story is going to get, the more it's going to help other people. Essentially it's a two-edged sword there. It's entertainment for a lot of people that are just looking into the subject to hear a story. And for some, it's validation. It can really help others. So put your story out there. You don't have to put your name on it. I don't ever say anybody's last name anyway. Even if they say, fine, you can say my name. I still only ever say their first name. And then, just the kind of general area. Any updates on the next possible expedition? No. Hoping the fall. Just hoping. A lot more has to come together, Mike. Like with my work, especially. And the whole parks opening up and everything being open, and us being sure that we're going to be able to go down there and shoot. I still have the equipment to do it with, so we're still there. Yeah, actually, I have. Do you have that picture, Daniela? There it is, right there. Now, that's not exactly right. The hair is not right. His hair wasn't long at all. It was really short off his head. The nose is about right. It's maybe a little wider than that. But yeah, that's essentially it. Long face, really pronounced, big old cheeks. He looked like Scottie Pippen. But really black face. And no real visible neck. His head sat way down in front of his shoulders. But it had a huge head, shaped like a football, especially from the side. But I drew this, what was it, March of 2018. So this is all from memory, but I probably erased for 5 hours just trying to get something that resembled what I remembered seeing. And when I close my eyes and visualize what I saw, this is how close it is. It's not 80 feet away. I see it that close. So yeah, and it does a lot of things to you. I probably haven't told half of the things that I've had to go through because of that. People are always saying how much they want to see one of these things, and you don't. Maybe there's a specific type of way. What happened to me was bad, and it was a special circumstance. I believe that they knew who I was and got upset and angry with me. And I think they thought I knew they were there anyway, just because of some of the interactions we were having. So they got upset and let me know it. And I didn't. And I thought, thought I was going to die. So it messed me up for a long time. You know, talking about. I've talked about not going outside. I used to smoke cigarettes until then, because that's when I started dipping. Was then, because we didn't smoke in the house. I wasn't going outside at night to smoke, so I started dipping and I quit smoking. So.
I wonder if you really rattled them because they were trying to give you this sign for ages and you just weren't picking up on it.
Yeah, I think they try to run me out of there several times.
You know, literally, we've got to stand in front of him.
Right. I think that's exactly what it was. Well, not exactly that, but a part of it. You know, it was a whole culmination of a lot of things I believe that went on while I was out there. I was out there so much already, more than an average person should be in the woods. Even if I lived right there, I was just out there so much. I was not ever at home. I was going out there to that place. And that was probably part of it, being around them so much, having the interactions, me being suspicious that there was somebody out there, you know, doing things at some times. But when I actually finally saw what it was, I think it was that sudden moment of realization that makes you have to change so many things. And if you change that many things in your life, it essentially changes who you are. And that's what it did. It changed who I was. And I mean, I guess I was in there already, but I just chose not to be a certain way. Even if I had to be out around people, I made it a point not to smile, not to be interactive, you know, as little as possible with even family members. Yeah, it didn't matter who it was. I was just, the a-hole is how I was perceived. I didn't care. So I think it was just being out there so much and them trying to run me out of there before. Someone made a point, and I wish I could have looked at it this way before, is what if there was something else out there and they were trying to get me out of there to save me, to help me? So I don't think so, but it's definitely a more positive way to look at it. They were trying to help me, getting me out of there. So.
Well, it didn't just roar at you, did it? It tried to speak. It was speaking to you. It was saying something to you.
Yeah,
no, he just wanted to frighten you off. He would have thrown a rock maybe and bluff charged you.
Right.
But it wanted you to see it.
Definitely language. And I don't know if he was trying to speak our language or whatever. It wasn't the fast type of gibberish talk. It was very, and we get really loud and then mumble and then get loud again. So it was very inflective. Way his lips were moving, it was like form, you know, like he was actually modulating words. And when I reached for the gun, that was it. That's when he was mad at me. He was already mad, I felt like, but when I did that, he got really, really upset. And it wasn't like he was standing way out in the open or anything. You know, he's standing in this little gap where I can see him clearly, you know, at least from about the waist up, I can see everything really clearly. And one step either direction, he would have been gone. I wouldn't have been able to see him anywhere. So.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Any more questions that we're going to take here? Dun, dun, dun. What is this? Whatever happened to the guys in Florida? His name is Richard. Did an Odyssey show last year. Had pics. No, you know, I talked to Mark Zaschke probably once a day. I just talked to him earlier. But Richard Borchardt, I haven't talked to him in a while. I don't know if he's doing much with it, but I talked to Mark Zaschke quite a bit, and we're chomping at the bit to get down there. We're going to do the Crypto Realities Odyssey. We're going to tell him and Melanie's whole story. We're going to get their best video that they have and put it together in one long, probably 2-hour long documentary of what they've done down there. And yeah, I'm excited to do it. Absolutely. But I haven't spoken to Richard in a while. they normally throw rocks and such in those encounters that are aggressive. So it could have been them saying, "Hey, dangerous." Maybe so. That's a good point. I think it might have been you, Brandon, that made that point that they were trying to save me. I don't think so. I don't think that was it. I don't think that was it at all.
What is going off in my thing? Has Mark captured anything lately? Has it been out? Has it been?
Yeah, just the same stuff he's been getting when they go there. They throw apples. They've got this Pavlovian response thing going on with them now. So they go out there to their new spot. They throw the apples. They can hear them walking up, and they catch them. And you made a comment the other day about going back and seeing them later in the video, but sometimes it has to be the way it is, because there are things that the camera can see that your eyes can't. It's like this camera right here. It has a setting where I can remove all the shadows. So whatever I can't see with my eyes, this camera, as a matter of fact, sometimes when I'm looking at the viewfinder and I'm pointing in the direction I'm looking with my eyes, it looks completely different. And I'm having to match the trees up to make sure, okay, this is the right area. It just looks different. Sometimes that's just the way you have to do it. I think comparisons in situations like that are important. Come back and get another in that area just to show where it's there, where it's not there. That I think that helps out. But they've done that. Mark and Melanie have done that quite a few times, and I think they've gotten beyond that point. I think they're just they're putting the stuff out to the people that are willing to join them, not just to be out there like on YouTube or whatever. It's crypto reality. I think it's $2 a month on Patreon to get to see all of their evidence and equipment and their expeditions and the things, the little mini movies that he puts out. It's got a great production value to it. I had him helping me out on some stuff today on the computer. He's really good at it.
I just wonder, about moving forwards with what is the next stage. I know there's, the expedition, but how much time are people putting into, and I don't want to disrespect anybody and what they're doing, but what, how many videos and photos? It's like a merry-go-round.
It is.
And, we need to get off.
Yeah, the only thing about that is, that's fine for the people that are already in it, but who knows what you're going to get that next time that convinces that one person that's on the fence or doesn't look into it very often. So, I mean, you kind of have to keep going with it in that sense. There's no one forcing anyone to look at any of this stuff. That's why you put it out in a specific place. Like Mark Zaski does. It's in a specific place. If you want to see it, you're going to have to go there to get it. No one's force feeding it to you in some Facebook group or, where you have to skim over it. And then you got to leave your opinion on top of it. You're not going to get that there. So
it's like whatever you do, though, you're going to get, you're going to get.
Yeah, it's just because, because we're people. We have different ideas of what reality is, and that doesn't always match actuality, and that's all of us, including myself. I've got my view of the world, and until I had to see it, I would have had to see it, especially the way I saw it, to have any level of involvement in the subject at all. I'd have never done it. Would not have cared one way or the other. Now, I'm not saying I care that much about Sasquatch. If they all died tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me a bit. I don't have that kind of a deep feeling connection toward this creature. The only thing I would like to see is more people being aware and more people into the subject paying attention. For some reason, Brandon Schoen was trying to call me right now. He knows I'm live, so I don't know.
Right. Why is he doing that?
I don't know. Why are you calling me, Brandon? Look.
I think it's good that people go out and do whatever they're doing.
I'm not going to answer, Brandon. I'm sorry, dude.
I forgot what my point was going to be.
I see.
Yeah, no, I think you know, respect to anybody going out there, because I'm not doing it, and you know, so I'm not. I can't say don't do this, don't do that, but you know, I just would love to see something fresh coming into this subject, and it is disappointing the way people, you know, doubt those that have put in a lot of time and research and have come up with some really good. Someone messaged me tonight asking me if Christopher Noel was legit or for real. And I just, you know, someone puts that amount of time and years into accumulating all the stuff he's done and sort of like the quality of his work, and
People just aren't looking that deep, Daniela, and that's the sad part. It's an instant gratification world we live in, and people just aren't looking deep enough to know how much you've put into things, how much effort is in something. I can create a video that took me 5 hours to do, and stand 5 or 6 criticisms, out of the first 50 comments. That is obvious that it's not a thought, that anything went into this at all. It's just a video that I had, and I threw it out there for you. I didn't create anything. So it's for some reason, I don't know what it is. You can't force people to think, the way you think they should think. Obviously, you should think like me, dadgummit.
Yeah. Well, I can see it pretty clearly. For me, I can see whether there's something worth watching or not. And so I put Chris up there as something worth watching, definitely. I'm not sure how people can doubt him, really. The stuff is done, the stuff is collected.
Right.
It is what it is. But
well, a lot of other researchers, you see there's animus between researchers because they don't want you to get anything better than what they've gotten. It's kind of a testament to failure on your part that you haven't been able to do what this other person's done. So discrediting them, I guess, kind of makes you, feel a little bit better about yourself. So that happens a lot in this subject, unfortunately, as you get researchers that both say there's two and they're at each other's throat all the time. And they both have good points. They both have good evidence, but no one's taking the time between them to really look at one another and work together. I could probably throw a lot of names out there that do this, but there's no point in it because it's been brought to these people's attention, time and time again. There are several, actually face to face. Cam Buckner's actually stepped in and gone to one of these people and said, "Look, man, this is what you're doing," and he had no dog in the fight whatsoever, and it didn't help at all. So it's kind of one of those things I think people are going to have to figure out for themselves and try to grow up a little bit and move forward in the subject. We're not going very far in the subject because, for one, this creature, they're just so dadgum hard to find. The best you're going to find is evidence. Finding the creature itself is just, unless you're out there actively looking for it and going after it. And I don't think there's a lot of people doing that. They're going to look for footprints and tree structures and get audio at night. When I think these creatures are out more at night than anything else. I think the technology is getting there to the point where Doppler is probably going to be the thing that helps us zero in and find these creatures, which it's available now, but weather channels use it. They point at the sky to show you the rain and all that. But Doppler, it's microwaves, so it's dangerous. You can fry somebody with it, and the military has actually done that. But if you want to use it, you have to get people that are specially licensed for it. But I think we'll get to the point where Doppler can detect heartbeats anywhere, through trees, through anywhere. So, I mean, finding those individual heartbeats, cloaking or whatever is not going to help this creature at that point. You can zero in and find them and use thermal and other technologies like that to get around and get some better images of them. I think finding a place like we have down in Florida, we got Mark Zansky. He knows where they are. Going in there to get them is just very dangerous. And, that's what we were put ourselves to the hazard and just go do it and give it a try. We're still planning to do that. It's just, we have to get past this other stuff. So it's going to come down to someone doing that. And then hopefully that could be, I'm hoping it's a linchpin for a new way of going after these creatures. We'll see.
Yeah. It seems like a impossible task, doesn't it? But there's got to be, it's got to slip up one day. Bigfoot can't be.
I've been seeing a lot of this. Cloth, not that. But a lot of, hello, Cliff is waiting. Cliff is not backstage. We would know it if he was. If he might be in the chat, that's fine, but he's not here. So, and we're well over halfway through, so we appreciate it anyway, Cliff. Sorry we couldn't connect yet again. Yeah, okay, Cliff's in the chat. All right, so he did make it. He just didn't make it to the show.
He's not in the backstage. Yeah,
we can't magically put him on if he's not backstage. So, and we're well into the show. We've only got 25 minutes left, and we might cut it a little short. Who knows? We don't find anything better to talk about. You want to be a part of that, Steve?
Must be a part of finding Bigfoot, I think.
Well, you want to be a part of the expedition? Well, you never have called me. Call me. You have my phone number. You know where it is. Holla. Let's see. Any more questions? Anybody got?
Okay. Did you put that up?
Thanks for the offer. Okay.
No questions. So what was the latest? You put a clairvoyant video out?
Goodbye. So wrong. I don't know. What's wrong here? Trying to understand that. I hope that's not anything we've done wrong. We sent the link to Cliff. He's not here. He's not backstage. I can't magically put him on here. Sorry. Thank you, Joey Hayes. I'm enjoying making those videos, actually. I actually made my first thumbnail today. I was having such a hard time doing that. And I'm not a master of editing by any stretch of the imagination, but I use Final Cut Pro 10, and I could not figure out how to turn it, because it's got to be a JPEG image to put on YouTube, but they won't accept it. So when you put it into the timeline and you start editing and adding things, it starts stacking up. It's hard to explain, but if I figured out how to push them all together, but I still couldn't figure out there's no save as option through Final Cut. So Daniela suggested a couple of programs, but I'll just do it. I do it the easy way. I create it. I blow it up on the screen real big. I take a picture of it with my phone and I email it to myself. So it works. Yeah, it's the old jerry rigged version, but it still looks, it's a thumbnail. It's the first one. And, I'll put it out. I put the video out at 8 o'clock this morning, and I put the thumbnail out like 2 hours ago, and it's just going. It's starting to really get the views now. So
good. Lost Cryptids Conservatory, if they talk and have a language, do they have a culture?
I would say yes. And I would probably even venture to say that they have different cultures in different areas. That's the way it seems. It's what makes sense to me. I always equate it to the Native Americans. There were 18 million, as what we've been told, Native Americans in the United States at one point, that were 80 different types of tribes and over 400 offshoots of those tribes that spoke different languages, that had different cultures, and the way they did things were just different. Some were peaceful, some were warlike. is just a really diverse a melting pot, for lack of a better term on my dumb part, of different, same exact person, type of people, you know. So I think Sasquatch may be exactly the same way. I mean, how are they communicating with each other from one side to the other? So I think, you know, our life experiences are what form and mold, you know, who we are and how we act and how we react. And, you know, having these creatures to say that they're all aggressive, I think they all have the tendency or the capacity to be aggressive. But I think a lot of the notions we have about this creature in one area get put on all of them everywhere. And I mean, obviously they're everywhere. There's over 15,000 reported sightings just on the BFRO, just sent to the BFRO since 85. 15,000, over 15,000. And that's just what's been reported. And it's in every state in the lower 48 and Alaska. So 49 states. But they're different. Okay, there's one. Hiker Dave. Did you smell a stench at all during your sighting? No, I didn't, but that could have been the wind too. I don't remember. I think the wind was kind of swirling. It was early March, so it was a little windy, breezy, but I didn't smell anything. Plus, he's 80 feet away. So unless you're talking to me, Dave, that is.
Who was the guy? Scott Nelson, who broke down the language for
Right.
Ron Moorhead. He said he thought they were, one of them was like laughing at its own joke. So they must, you know, that kind of sense of, he thought he said something and then laughed about it. So they must have, if they've got that, then they've got a bit of culture, haven't they? If they've got humor,
emotional intelligence. You know, you don't have to speak someone's language to pick up on their intentions sometimes. You know, it just, they're a suggestive type of thing. I think absolutely. But yeah, they have to be emotionally intelligent. You know, when you get past whether or not they exist, okay, and you know they're out there, then you know there have to be real answers for these questions that we have. Do they have a language? Yes, I believe they do. I believe I heard one talking. I believe I've heard them talking other places too, down in Florida. Why don't we have a body? I think there's an answer to that question. Why are they so hard to find? I think there are answers to these questions. And if we just use a little bit of common sense and Occam's razor, it's not too hard to understand how it's easy for them to stay away from us. Why we don't ever find a body. When you have an intelligent creature like this, they're just, you know, trying to stay hidden. They're not going to leave one of their dead around there for us to find. It's just, that's what makes sense to me. There's the argument's always been used that, well, you don't find a lot of dead bears, you know, in the woods. And that's true. It's true. I just never thought that was our best angle for explaining why we don't have a body for it. You know, people don't look at this creature as an intelligent, like us, intelligence, you know, and if I wanted to, and I had the right stuff, I could stay hidden from someone in the woods, especially someone that wasn't looking for me. I could definitely do that. And this creature has apparently, obviously, everything over us when it comes to ability and stealth and vision, night vision, hearing, you know, strength, ability to move on all fours, low to the ground where all the thick stuff is and get through it. They're just where we don't go. They see us coming a mile away and just stay away from us. Simple as
Cats do it. Cats do it, don't they? When they go off, when they're going to die, they go and find a quiet spot, and it could be that, where they hide themselves away somewhere.
Absolutely.
Who knows? Mike, again, was the language you heard anything like the Moorhead audio?
Maybe, just slower. It was almost like he was, you know, you hear someone that doesn't speak a language like Spanish, and they go and they speak slowly, expecting someone to understand them, like, where's the bathroom? Something like that. It's kind of how it felt, you know, looking back on the whole thing now, it was just a lot slower. And it was so unnerving the sound itself, because it was like multiple sets of vocal cords at one time. A strange, eerie, almost backmasked type of demonic sound. And when I say that, people think I think it's a demon. No, that's not what I'm saying. Like something you should hear in The Exorcist, the movie, something like that. You know, that kind of strange, backward, but just that. I don't know. I can't do it. I've tried to do it so many times. I can't do it. And with power, you know, it's there were several things in there that I can pinpoint being extremely frightening, and that was feeling that you know, that huff type of blow toward me, like standing in front of a big speaker and feeling that, and being able to see and hear that tree move back and forward. Those are really two. Oh, and at the end, when finally got out, and I was just knew he was right behind me and was going to get me going out, because I couldn't pull my four-wheeler forward. I had to back up toward this thing. Those 3 times, I think, are probably the most, what affected me the most. But getting that washed over feeling, that still happens. I can't. Linda can walk by me. I can be standing at the sink and I can know she's there, and she can just touch my back and I'll jump like that. And she's like, "What are you jumping for?" You know, and I don't know. I've done it ever since. She brushed by my butt. She does that a lot. And I jump. I can't help it. It's just a reaction. My body reacts. I can't help it. Wow. And it happens to me every time. I can prepare myself all I want to going into the woods. As soon as I get there, I better have already gone to the bathroom somewhere else, because I'm going to have to go right then. It's happened twice in the same place already. And remotely, it happened a little bit when we went to Florida, but I think I was a little bit more, it's different woods. And I was a little bit going back out for the first time, a little bit more excited about, and plus you have to see where it is. It's not like deep off in the heart of darkness. You know, this is pretty close to some residential areas, and it's, you know, it's just some thick canopies through there. But you know, you're just walking down a canal, and there are these thick canopies on either side of you. It does choke in a little bit the deeper you get, but I didn't have that experience there the way I do around here.
So when you went back to your old place, even though you had all the guys with you, did you feel safety in numbers or not? Did you feel?
I think I did. Yeah, I wasn't really scared anything was going to happen. I was probably less scared that anything was going to happen there than any other time. But when I smelled that smell, I didn't even set up my tent. I got in my truck, and I kind of felt bad for that later. But I was just kind of hoping that these guys would go ahead and just do their thing. You know, I had these guys there filming. I would handle all the stuff around the campsite. You just go out there and do your thing. And, you know, for the most part, they did. And I still haven't looked at any of that.
I guess for you as well, you know, you got away with your life. You're thinking about backing out of there, walking from there, then getting to your truck, all those times where you were vulnerable, I guess, you know, or feeling it the most. So that's...
Well, you're just not thinking rationally. I wasn't thinking rationally in that moment about all the other times I had been fine in there. I knew they were there. All those things were coming back, but I wasn't thinking, well, they could have got me then and didn't. That's not what I was thinking anyway. Someone else might have thought that, but it wasn't me. I was thinking these things get seen all the time and nobody ever lives to tell about it. And I felt very valid in thinking that in the moment. And I felt like my gun saved me, even though I don't feel that way now at all. I think if they wanted to get me, they just snuck up on me and got me. You know, He wanted me to know he was coming, and I did. But he was very careful about it. He made sure he was down low where all I could see was just a little bit of him. And he would look at me, and I think he was looking to make sure I wasn't doing anything stupid, like pointing my gun at him. And then when he finally made his way around and back up toward me, that was our moment right there. And I knew something was off about the guy the whole time, but I was so sure that this was just some amateur dude out there messing things up. I was going through how I was going to rail him pretty much for what he had done, how he had just messed up my whole week, you know. So,
Yeah.
but that's not what happened. It
No.
was completely and totally different.
You messed up the rest of your life in a way.
Yeah.
You changed it, you
Try
know.
not to look at it like it messed up my
No.
life,
That's
but
bad choice of words, but
I would be
changed it.
different. Yeah, I'd probably be complete. I wouldn't have the job. I wouldn't have worked in West Texas. You know why I worked out there?
Because there was no sightings.
Never been a single one. Not ever. The only place, West Texas. And ended up being a good career choice for me, ultimately. I mean, I had been a millwright and traveled all over and done that and you know, made pretty good money, but nothing like working in the oil field. That's just totally but you sell your life when you do that. Let's see. Here's a question right here. Yeah, it was just like I've said 100 times, Randy, it's just that washed over feeling, you know, like someone just poured a bucket of cold water over your head. It's a true sinking feeling. It's like, oh, it's that, you know, and then you're not going to make it out. You know, it's one of those, that was just so far away. 800 yards, we measured it. That's how far I was. And I don't remember a lot of the walkout. I remember certain points of it. And, you know, the way it happened and the way I remember it may be a lot different now. But from what I remember of the whole thing, and I've thought about little else when it comes to Bigfoot and me thinking about Bigfoot, I've thought of little else but that day for 13 years. And that's how it happened. And, you know, if I went back and I could see a video of the whole thing and maybe get reminded of some other things that happened in there, I just don't remember. But what I have talked about and the key things that affected me and what I did remember, that's what you guys have heard so many times.
It's quite a detailed account as it is. Andy gone fishing. Do you think our folklore is based on these creatures, wild man, etc.?
I think a lot of it is, absolutely. What is considered to be folklore is probably rooted in a whole lot of truth. From goblins and ghouls and ogres, things like that you hear about, the giants. Leif Erikson wrote about these things in 986 AD, and he was not known for just writing a bunch of BS about anything. You know, it was a factual log in his journal that they had met with at least 4 of these black-eyed, hairy giants, is what he called them, and had I think killed some of his men. I think at least hurt them. And that just leads me to think that back then, I think there was a lot more interaction with Sasquatch that we had until guns came along. I think guns came along and pretty much changed a lot as far as this creature is concerned. And it, rightfully so, makes sense. What do we do when we get scared? We defend ourselves. If you have a gun in your hands and you think something, I've said it 100 times, if I would have, with what I knew then about Bigfoot or anything, the way they acted or the way they behaved, what I knew of it right then, if I'd have had my rifle, I'd have shot him. No doubt. Once I was convinced that that's what it was, you know, there were still moments that this has to be a guy. He's got to be, you know, how is he doing this? And I mean, as fleeting as that was, once I knew for sure, yeah, I shot him right between the eyes. No doubt. I hate saying that now, but that's why it's important that we get awareness out there so no one does that. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there just like me that hunt all the time, care nothing about Bigfoot, think nothing of it, probably get watched all the time by these creatures, still think nothing of it. And then it walks out on them, boom. I've got a 300 Winchester Magnum. Nothing survives that thing. I think that would kill one for sure. And you shoot it, and now what? There's the rest of the family to deal with. What I think. I think that people that have disappeared because of this creature is for that reason. They shot at them.
It's quite possible, isn't it?
Being aggressive towards them. Because if you think about this creature, I don't think they're malevolent or benevolent in any moral sense. I don't think they're grounded. Anything they do is grounded in morality one way or the other. I think it's all about survival. I think that's why they don't just choose to grab us and hurt us. It doesn't help their survival any. Probably, if from their point of view, could probably be a detriment to have to hurt somebody and then here's 1,000 more people in here now looking for this guy. So if that's the way they see things, it just seems something that seems plausible. But that's probably why they don't. If it's not rooted around their existence and surviving, we don't have to think that way anymore. We don't have to worry about surviving anymore. As a society, if we're not taking care of each other, you're not worrying about a lot of people. Most people, especially in the first world, are not worried about where their next meal is coming from. They have to hunt for it. Just go to the grocery store and get it. With this creature, it's completely different, I think. That is a regular everyday concern. It would have to be. So, well, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we made a show out of it? Sorry, Cliff, couldn't make it again.
Donate. We've got an alternative view here, Jared, Indio Loco. There aren't bodies because they are spirits who can manifest physically at their choosing. Cherokee, we know. So,
yeah, okay. That's one plausible explanation. Why this one creature in the whole world out of all of them has the ability to do this. I don't know, but you could be right. Absolutely, Jared. That would explain a heck of a lot. It sure would. But I think it's been not a bad show. I know I did most of the talking, but it's not anything different.
Just like old times.
Yeah. So Friday, 3:30 p.m. Central, the UFO show. And who's the guy? You're all blurry. Oh, there you
are. Dave. We've not spoke yet. We've emailed a little bit, but it'll be good. It'll be good.
That's going to be on Hidden Existence. If you haven't subscribed to Hidden Existence, go and do that right now.
Yeah.
It's easy to find. If you haven't subscribed to the Shudder, go and subscribe to the Shudder. There's 37 videos on there, stories, all actual encounters, quote unquote, supposed actual encounters. So we definitely appreciate you guys showing up here with us tonight. Sorry about Cliff not making it here. We'll have someone for you next Wednesday, though. Hopefully we'll have
Joe Pass, the Squatching Cowboy. I think there's no BS approach to Bigfoot research.
Awesome.
He's a nice guy. It's not 100%. I need to just confirm with him, but one way or another, he'll be on either next week or the week after. But
okay, cool. Well, that'll be next Wednesday, 7:00 p.m. Central, right here on Bigfoot Odyssey. All right, y'all have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night, everyone.